Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and we got some breaking news from Magic the Gathering today. Thought it was pretty interesting, so I wanted to get it to you guys as soon as possible. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can go into detail of the articles, but let me at least give you a quick overview. But they've announced a number of changes that are going to occur for the Magic Origins Pro Tour. Now, these changes aren't going to occur yet in regular play, say your Friday Night Magic or anything like that, but the Mulligan Rule, which we'll look at for right now, is going to be basically tested, it sounded like, through Magic Origins Pro Tour, which is July 31st through August 2nd. So let's jump into the article and go over it quickly. Okay, so let's start with the new Mulligan Rule update. And again, this is just for Magic Origins, not something you're going to be doing at Friday Night Magic or anything like that at this point anyway. But my assumption is if it goes well at the Pro Tour, that it's going to take effect and there'll be more verbiage, detail around it. But here's what's going to happen. So your players are going to mulligan like normal during the Pro Tour. So whoever's going to go first will declare if they want to mulligan. The next player will declare if they want to mulligan. And at that point, whoever mulligans will mulligan simultaneously. They'll go down to 6 cards, and then they have the option again to go down to 5 cards, 4 cards, so on and so forth. So all that's the same. That hasn't changed. Here's where it's different. Once I have mulliganed, if I've mulliganed, whether it's down to 6 cards or less, starting with the player who's going to go first, that player has the option to then scry 1. So if I mulligan down to 6 cards and my opponent doesn't, and I'm going first, once I'm done with my mulligan, I can go ahead and scry 1 and decide whether I want to put that card on the top or bottom of my library, and then I start the game. So very interesting. Now obviously Magic Pro Tour is going to be one-on-one competition, but if it's in a multiplayer setting, they've already kind of mentioned that everyone would decide who's going to mulligan, and then you'd go in turn order and do your scry ones after the mulligans have been completed. So they've already put thought into it, but at this point it hasn't been moved to the bigger Magic game. It's just being tested at the Pro Tour, and then they'll collect more data and see how it goes. Basically, the idea is they feel like mulligans are still causing a lot of games without interaction, and we see that sometimes even in Pro Tour finals, a game will be just given away, especially if it's a deciding game. It's kind of sad to see that go one way or the other because of mulligans, so I think that's a good change. I'm pretty certain this will become a rule change for the game sooner than later. Okay, next let's look at the difference between judges and video coverage. So this is stemming from the incident that happened in Dragons of Tarkir Pro Tour with Patrick Chapin. Basically, they're now saying that the judge can look at videotape, the head judge can look at videotape to make a decision in a match if it was one of the matches that was in the feature match area and was on video. So that's a great rule. I really am excited about that. I think the problem with the incident that happened at the last Pro Tour was just simply that rule didn't exist. The rule was that the judge couldn't look at the videotape, so he couldn't look at the videotape. That was the rule. But now that the rule is different, I do like it. I do think it's the right thing to do. I think it's a good change. This will be in effect in Pro Tours, World Championships, and World Magic Cup only, so this won't be in GPs. Secondly, there will be a judge stationed at any game that's on video, so they could actually, if they see a gameplay mistake, they can stop the game and notify the head judge. Then at that point, the head judge can look at the videotape to see what should be done. So that may actually stop things from getting out of hand if there's one mistake that's just going to domino into another one. So I think those are very good changes. Very happy with those. The last part is card layout in the video coverage area. There's a lot of players that do different things with their cards, that they're kind of fall in the minority. You know, there's people that play lands in front of their creatures. There's people that play with their cards completely upside down facing their opponent. And they get a lot of scrutiny sometimes from the community that they're trying to confuse their opponent or just kind of catch them off guard by, doing something that most players don't do. So they've gotten some bad press, players that do stuff like that, and I don't really think that's necessarily fair. But also, more importantly, people that are trying to watch the coverage, maybe learn the game, that aren't as familiar with the game, if they see different layouts, it's going to be confusing. So this is the standard layout, and this is the layout that most people use today. But here's the bullet points. Creatures must be in front of lands. Nothing can be behind lands. The library can be on either side, the left or the right. Graveyard must be adjacent to the library, which of course can be on the left or the right. The exile zone must be near the library and graveyard. It must be distinct from the graveyard. If a card is exiled by a permanent in play, the exiled card must be placed in proximity to the exiling permanent such that it is obvious that the two are associated. So putting your Oblivion Ring on top of whatever you've exiled, for example, and usually what do is if I control the Oblivion Ring, it will face me, the other card will face my opponent, and it will be kind of half covered by the Oblivion Ring is typically how you see that. And then finally, all untapped cards in play must face the controller of that card. So basically you can't play with your cards upside down or sideways or anything like that. So very good changes. As far as the layout thing goes, I mean, that's not super passionate for me, but I get it. I think it totally makes sense that you want players that maybe aren't really familiar with coverage or the game to be able to understand what's going on, and I think that makes a lot of sense to just have some formality there. Now, these rules are not like gameplay rules for the Pro Tour. This is only if you're on video coverage that you have to follow these rules. So if you're just playing off video coverage at Pro Tour Origins, you can play your cards upside down and creatures in front of land or wherever else you do, but they do suggest sticking to that layout just in case you do get pulled into a feature match and you don't have to change your normal practice of play. So interesting stuff. I think it's pretty safe to say that these will continue after the Pro Tour, the current Pro Tour, and I think it's pretty safe to say the new Mulligan Rule, as long as it's not tweaked or something like that after the Pro Tour, I kind of feel like will probably be what we'll be doing this fall in general as Magic players. So pretty interesting stuff. Wanted to bring it to you. As always, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. Have a great day. Hey, thanks as always for watching. If you're still looking for quality Magic the Gathering videos, click on one of these annotations. And if you hadn't had a chance yet to subscribe, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the breaking MTG news, spoilers, set reviews, crazy product openings, or gameplay videos on Heroes and Legends MTG. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.